first stop is Carsac with a beautiful church, pure Romanesque style of the 12th century. There's barely ever anybody there, so it's really nice to visit. And on the cliff in front, you have the remains of a fortification of the 100 Years' War. And just 2 minutes away from Carsac Church, you can make a beautiful photo stop here to see the Château de Montfort, which is our next step. Only 3 kilometers away from Sarlat, you have the nice village of Montfort. So it's very tiny and there's not much, but there's a beautiful castle which unfortunately you cannot visit, but it's worth a picture. And the village is so quaint and beautiful and well tended, and you have lots of stray cats which are very well taken care of, who are roaming around everywhere in the village. It's a stop you cannot miss. The castle is from the Middle Ages. It has been demolished in the 13th century, then remodeled several times, and finally it was restored in the 19th century. As you can see, it was built over the rough rock and it's quite visible now. Nowadays, the work of restoration is beautiful and unbelievable. You cannot see any flaw. So, in a nutshell, Domme is a bastide, which means it's a military medieval village of the 13th century. And as such, it is designed a specific way, with the roads cutting in right angles and looking pretty much like a chessboard, which, believe it or not, is very uncommon in the Middle Ages. All of the cities looked pretty much like a maze, like a snail, you know, and in the bastides it was always very military, very well organized, with right angles. And in each bastide there was a square in the center of town for the market. I will say no more, you just enjoy the walk. gate of access is amazing enough as it is. I mean, it's from the 13th century and all, but what makes it really special is to know that no other than the Knights Templars were locked in it in the 14th century. Well, according to the legend. The historians deny it, but it's still pretty classy. And after this, of course, you cannot miss La Roque Gageac, which is one of the most beautiful villages of France, and you can tell it's very true. It is very typical from the region because it's completely troglodyte. It's built all against the rock, and there's the river Dordogne at its foot. You can ride the Gageac, typical boat here, to have a nice visit on the Dordogne River. So let's go, let's have a look. Thanks to a very specific microclimate due to the rock preserving the heat all year, it never freezes here. Therefore, the inhabitants have taken advantage of it for planting lots of Mediterranean and exotic plants. It's a whole exotic garden throughout the entire village. It's beautiful. Last but not least of our stops, the amazing village of Beynac. It's one of the most beautiful villages of France, with a medieval castle at the top, extraordinary location for many movies, and all of these beautiful tiny medieval streets that lead you to the top and to a glorious view on the valley of Dordogne. Enjoy!